Hey friends, Richard Jones coming to you now with your preview of Advent 3, December 17 at St. James United Methodist Church. We've been talking about how does a weary world rejoice. And this week we learned that when we allow ourselves to be amazed, we can have joy. We look at the story of the birth of John the Baptist. Now there's an interesting uh, fact, an interesting tidbit, an interesting thought in this story. Now, listen to this part. Now, you remember Zechariah, the priest, Elizabeth, Mary's cousin, were very old, had no children. Angel came to Zechariah, you're going to have a child, name him John. Zechariah he said, how can this be? What's the sign this is going to happen? Because I'm an old man. The angel said, you will not be able to speak until the child is born. So here we have Zechariah being mute until the birth of John. Now, in today's scripture, we come to the birth of John. So, verse 57. Now, the time came. This is Luke chapter 1. Now the time came for Elizabeth to give birth, and she bore a son. Her neighbors and relatives heard that the Lord had shown his great mercy to her, and they rejoiced with her. They were amazed at this miraculous birth, and they had joy. There's our theme. Verse 59. On the 8th day they came to circumcise the child, and they were going to name him Zechariah after his father. But his mother said, no, he is to be called John, like the angel said. They said to her, none of your relatives has this name. Then they began motioning to his father to find out what name he wanted to give him. That's what I find interesting. They began motioning to Zechariah. Well, that seems to indicate that not only was he mute, but maybe he couldn't hear either. Why else would they have to motion to him? Why else couldn't they just speak and ask him? So maybe, think about this, Zechariah did not hear, did not know what Elizabeth was saying when she said, no, his name shall be John. And so the people motioned to Zechariah, hey, what are we to name this child? Zechariah said, give me a writing tablet. Zechariah asked for a writing tablet and wrote, his name is John. And they were all amazed. In other words, what if Zechariah didn't hear Elizabeth say, no, he's to be called John? And then they motioned to Zechariah and said, okay, what do we name this child? He said, his name is John. They agreed like that, and the people were amazed. And there was great joy, and immediately Zechariah could speak, and he praised God and had great joy. When we allow ourselves to be amazed, we can have joy. Look around you today. Allow yourself to be amazed. I'll see you Sunday.